What is up, everyone? StonePost34 here, bringing you... No, it's not owning the objective. It's growing up with StonePost34. I had a couple videos up about me growing up as a kid. But first here, real quick, about the gameplay. Running the Commando, playing Domination on Grid. Care Pack, Spy Plane, and Chopper Gunner are my kill streaks. And I cut out the first part of the game. I started out 2-1. Try to keep the video a little bit shorter, and so anyway, that was what was going on here. And I think I end the game running the Silent Spaz, just kind of having fun with it. So anyway, that's what we'll be playing in the background, and just want to tell you a few more stories about me growing up as a kid in Kansas, and just some fun stories about my family. So anyway, here goes. I'm one of 4 kids. I am my older brother is 2.5 years older than me, and then I'm second, and then I have 2 younger sisters that are 4 and 6 years younger than me. So growing up, we kind of had, well, I'd say we really had strict parents, and I wouldn't change that for the world. So let me just say that to start off with. Strict is good in my book, and in fact, I have 2 daughters, and my wife and I call it good cop, bad cop, and I'd have to say I play bad cop quite a bit. I'm the disciplinarian, and my wife is the one they go to seek advice. But anyway, so growing up, we had really strict parents, and some of the funny things as far as punishments that we had, I'd like to share with you. So I think you guys have all heard the you know, if you lie, you get your mouth washed out with soap, and believe me, we had that happen. But my parents figured out that we didn't really mind the taste of soap, and we didn't. I mean, they had this really mild soap that they used. It wasn't like Lever 2000 or Lava or something that would, you know, eat the skin right off your tongue, but they had this pretty mild soap, so they went away from that. So if we lied, depending on what was in the cupboard, we got a teaspoon of Tabasco sauce or a teaspoon of chili powder. Believe it or not, it is pretty bad. A teaspoon of chili powder will light your world on fire. And I didn't have it a whole lot. My brother, he kind of led the way. He paved the road for us, and he got it all the time. Another punishment we had, they believed in corporal punishment, and I don't as a parent, but they did, and that involved, if it was my mother, it was the wooden spoon. And my brother, I think he broke 2 of them from my mom spanking him, but the wooden spoon, and then if it was my father, it was the belt. And I did get the belt a few times, and I know people these days would think that's just call SRS, but you know, that's what I grew up with, and it didn't really bother me a whole lot because I knew that there were consequences for certain actions. So anyway, but some of the funnier things that my parents did as far as punishments, you know, little things like tipping in your chair at the dinner table. And we ate dinner most of the time as a family. In fact, I'd say pretty much all the time, unless I was in football or basketball and schedules got crazy, or playing soccer. We ate as a family. But if you tipped in your chair at the dinner table, the punishment was, well, you'd be warned. And if you kept doing it, you would eat the entire week without a chair. And that happened once to me, and I didn't do it again. It sounds like it's not a big deal, but your siblings make fun of you because you can't sit at the table, and you don't get the comfort of sitting in a chair. So the other little thing was eating with your fingers. The punishment was real similar to tipping in your chair, because utensils were a privilege. If you didn't eat with your utensils, you, well, obviously would get a warning, and if you continued to eat with your fingers, you would have to eat the entire week, following week, without silverware. And I guarantee when that happened, we'd have spaghetti at least once, if not twice, that next week. So you learned pretty quick that utensils were meant to be used, and just some silly things. But a couple other things, if you asked in front of a friend to play, you know, if Joe was over and I said, Joe wants to know if I can come over and play at his house, and he was in the room, or you know, if it was a sleepover situation and I asked in front of Joe, guaranteed answer was no every time. Every time, and they didn't waver one bit. So I think that's kind of a good rule, because that puts them on the spot, you know, if they had something else in mind. And I can understand that now as a parent, but I can tell you as a kid, that was seemingly unfair, but I dealt with it, and I think a lot of these little things made me the person I am today. I'm not super strict like that with my kids, and I've joked with them about how I was treated growing up, and I wouldn't say treated, but how I was raised. And they think it's kind of funny, and it is when you look back at it. But another thing my mom had, she never worked, which was great. I wish my wife could do that, but never worked, and was a stay-at-home mom. I shouldn't say never worked, because she did work. She worked at home. But we had a 3x5 card catalog, and in this there were numbers 1 through 31, and then every month of the year was in there. So what would happen is we'd have a chore like vacuuming the living room, cleaning the upstairs bathroom, setting the table, doing the dishes, cleaning out the dishwasher, you name it. Every chore that was in there, take out the cat litter, every chore that we had was in that catalog. So what my mom would do is we'd come home from school, and she'd go through, and they weren't necessarily assigned in the catalog, but she'd pull out for that day, say April 18th, she'd pull out, and it would say, vacuum the living room, clean the upstairs bathroom, dishes was done every day, dishwasher, stuff like that, cat litter. So before we could even start homework, and we couldn't even play until homework was done, we had to do our chores when we got home. So, it was kind of a cool idea, but we got smart. So we'd look ahead and find the things we didn't like. We'd sneak down to the card catalog, and we'd shove them back like a couple days, so she wouldn't know that we obviously didn't want to do them. So we'd just hide them and move them back, so they'd never show up. And then you couldn't do it too often, because I think she started figuring out that we were doing that. But anyway, one other real quick story about my brother and I. We did get the belt one time, and you know what? I'll save it for next time, because this is winding down. This is a pretty good story about being brothers and growing up and sticking up for each other. Even though it was wrong what happened, it's still made my brother and I probably stronger as brothers. And anyway, we're still good friends. He lives about a block from me. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. This is Stonepost 34. More stories to come about growing up. And take care. Subscribe if you haven't. Give it a like and a comment if you don't mind. Take care.